Right then, this is a walk around video for an absolutely beautiful Lexus. This is an IS250 SEL automatic, 2006 car rather, but it's just covered 46,000 miles and comes with a wonderful service history. It's a really misty morning, doesn't really do any favours for doing these videos in terms of colours, but the car looks so rich in this beautiful red, and it's got the lovely oaken beige interior as well, so the contrast is beautiful. As I say in the advert, one of the most sought after combinations of all. The car is in simply beautiful condition. Front of the car, as you can see, bumper lovely and clean, lights and lenses, there's no cracks, no condensation. Bonnet is exceptionally clean. Sorry, it's just a bit mist today, but got to do it when I can. Flank on the near side, absolutely mirror smooth. Alloys amazing. Coming to the boot area now, big boots on the car, and you expect of a Lexus, absolutely beautifully finished as well. So coming to the back first, you've got this absolutely gorgeous interior, which is in simply stunning condition. Come around on the front, again, all the door cards beautiful. Full set of Lexus mats, again in fantastic condition. Passenger seat there, hardly looks as though it's been sat on. So finally come to the front on the driver's door card, again in really lovely condition. And the driver's seat, 16 years old, and hardly shows any noticeable wear at all. So finally inside the car, engine's running through this section as always, so the dash can be seen illuminated. Dashboard again is in superb condition. I mean, the interior is stunning in here, I have to say. Heated and cooled seats, the wood looks absolutely superb on the car. And come across this wonderful dashboard, 46,854 miles, no warning lights on the car at all. It is truly exceptional. Right then, this is a road test video, and this is for a Lexus IS250, and it's the top of the range SEL model. This particular car is registered BG06XZJ, I think, if I can read my writing, and with just 46,854 miles recorded. The reason for all of the videos, and especially this road test section, is very simple indeed. It's to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they get to see the cars we're advertising actually in operation. And the reason for that, and the reason we feel it's important, is because, like so many people, we've been to see cars which have looked perfectly good in photographs and descriptions, only to get there find out it's got a fundamental issue that shows up whilst driving the car, so hence that's why we do it. It's also done on these lovely quiet roads in this beautiful part of Gloucestershire, although you'd never believe it, it's such a misty morning this morning. And this actually forms part of the road test route that we take our customers on. The reason for that is hopefully then it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, I openly admit I'm massively biased. I love these cars, but that's not to get in the way of the obvious checks that we do in what I'm reporting back on the car. So starting with the engine, push button starts immediately. It settles to an absolutely smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. it is just such a stunning engine. It really, really is. It's, you know, almost perfection, I have to say, because it's so quiet and so smooth in operation. It's ridiculous. It also pulls wonderfully well from all revs and sings through to the red line, should you wish it to, and does so with a wonderful soundtrack. It's an astonishing unit. It really, really is, and it sounds clearly as sweet as it would have done when it was new, because it just feels, the whole car has that kind of lovely kind of new feel about it. Engine then goes through into the gearbox, typical Lexus gearbox, absolutely so smooth. It's, the gear shifts are all but imperceptible. It's just the perfect companion to the engine. It really is. And like the engine, I mean, they're incredibly tough and reliable. Notwithstanding, reputation, of course, is always the case. It's worth doing the obvious checks on any auto. So when you're on the move, the gear changes should be smooth, and it's, as I said, it's perfect in that sense. But also when you're stationary and you put it into gear or into reverse, driver reverse, it shouldn't be any sort of clunks or delays, and there are none at all. It's, as I said, absolutely spot on. Steering of the car helped by the fact that it's rear-wheel drive, which means there's no drive shafts kind of polluting the steering. It's just brilliant. It's kind of oily in feel. It's very precise, very accurate, geared perfectly for this type of car, because it isn't a sports car, but what it is, it gives you very nice natural weighting at all speeds. It's very confidence inspiring, and it works beautifully with the chassis. It's absolutely hit the nail on the head with it. It also tracks dead straight. There's no vibrations at the speed or any speed up to the legal limit. And it just feels so ridiculously tight on the road. It does not feel like a car that's 16 years old. It feels like a car that's a couple of years old. That's how incredibly taut the car feels. And the chassis helps with that, because it gives you this beautifully compliant ride. The damping is fantastic on the car. There are no knocking noises. There's no rattles from the car, from the suspension. It just feels just home from stone. The chassis also, because again with the rear-wheel drive and the weight distribution, it absolutely flows through corners beautifully well. It's got a lovely natural balance to it. As I say in lots of videos with the ISs, that I've always maintained, I think it hits the perfect kind of middle ground, and that's not being conservative. It's a very deliberate design from the car. Because other cars in its class, a 3 Series BMW, if you want an out-and-out sports car, horses on the road, an out-and-out sports car, you'd go for something like a 3 Series. But up roads like this, which are very, very pitted, they can be incredibly uncomfortable. They just don't ride in the same way. I may have to swing around here, actually. Sorry, I wouldn't normally do that, but I don't want to get in the way of them trying to rescue their horses, and I'm not someone who's going to be particularly helpful. I think they can cover that one themselves. As I said, so come back to the BMW. Then you've got other cars, Audi A4, Mercedes C-Class. The Audi, I've always said that, for me at least anyway, I find it's front-wheel drive, most of them are. It's just nose heavy. It doesn't do anything for me at all. It just feels sort of numb on the road. C-Class is probably the closest of all, but again, it's slightly more slow-witted than this, and none are as comfortable on day in, day out, because that's how you drive a car most of the time. You might have a couple of minutes of madness where you're enjoying yourself, but 99% of people's driving is driving as I am today, and this is where these beat the others hands down. carrying on with the car, just going to give the brakes a good shove, but they're really good brakes on the car. We checked them earlier in the workshop. They're absolutely fantastic when we did the service. There's no kind of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal at all. And then finally coming inside this lovely interior, it really is. The first thing you notice straight away, apart from kind of how it feels and looks, is the build quality. They are beautifully put together. It is a sensational car. All working perfectly as you'd expect of any Lexus, but it's just a lovely place to sit. And I said this oaken beige interior is so sought after because this is your classic day. This is why I tell people I love this interior or these types of interiors. This is a dull, nasty, cold, depressing day really, but if this is a pure black interior, it'd be very dark in here, very cold feeling. This feels warm. It just got that lovely, it just brightens up the interior. It makes you feel as though you kind of, you expect to be having a log fire in the corner. But the colourings, the texturing of everything, beautifully done. Not a hint of a squeak or rattle anywhere inside the car. It's lovely, and on hot summer's days you don't get that roasting interior either, so it's the best of all worlds in my opinion, and in beautiful condition, absolutely amazing condition. Dash itself, again, wonderfully simple to operate, all with absolute precision. The air conditioning pumps out lovely cold air. We checked that in a nice warm workshop earlier. Heated and cooled seats working again exactly as they should. Then you've got the dash binnacle in front. The detailing of the instrumentation is just gorgeous. They've really obviously spent so much time how to, it's kind of like a sort of Swiss watch in the way it gets the information over, and beautifully minimalist. You've basically got all the information you need and no more. Big rev counter and speedo with your temperature and fuel gauges. Temperature gauge, by the way, just under half, exactly where it's meant to be. And yeah, it's perfect. Then you've got this lovely leather-bound steering wheel, which feels absolutely like new to hold and wonderfully free of too many complicated buttons on there. You've got your things for your your radio, an information display panel in the middle, and your cruise control, which all works absolutely perfectly, by the way. As I said at the start, setting aside bias, it drives perfectly, cannot fault it in any way. But as I said, I maintain this is just a wonderful car.